Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Pivotal Moments with Lolita. As always, we are bringing you real life stories of real moments in people's lives when they have just had that moment that has changed things for them. So, I am really excited about today's guest. We have Veronica Reid joining the conversation, and I'm just anxious to hear her pivotal moment because Veronica's an author. She's going to tell you a lot more about what she does, but I love her new book, which is How to Fire Your 9 to 5. And I know this is just going to really speak to a lot of our dreamers out there ready to just enter the world of entrepreneurship. So, without further delay, Veronica, welcome to Pivotal Moments.
Oh, thank you so much, Lolita. I really appreciate it. This is so awesome. I really am excited about this.
Yay! So, like I said, I kind of did a brief introduction, but why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Most definitely. My name is Veronica Reid. I have been an educator for the past, I would say, 21 years now. I am originally from New York by way of North Carolina. And I have been living in the DMV area for about 20 years. I worked as an education, just variety of different types of positions in education, from reading specialist, classroom teacher. I worked also as an ESOL teacher. So I've had a variety of different experiences in the field of education. And maybe in about 2019, I decided that I wanted to change from being in the classroom to having my own business where I work as an online tutor for reading and teaching for reading as well. So that's been very interesting and a lot of fun. And so I've been doing that now, I want to say, for almost 2 years now. And so it really kind of hit a lot, especially with the pandemic happening last year when schools closed down and businesses shut down. That was when my business really took off. So it's been a very interesting ride and something that I'm really excited about.
Wow. Well, first of all, I have to just, say salute you because anybody who is just in the field of education and educating our young ones out there, it just, to me, I just think is we don't talk enough about people who are doing that. So I
Yes,
commend you for that. I think that is awesome. And
thank you.
again, what another huge example of just the beautiful things. We know that this pandemic, which we are still in, I think all of us hope
Yes,
right now we would not be.
yes.
But what an example of something that's been so painful and so dark for so many people, for the world, but yet there's been these pockets of moments of beauty and power that have come from it. And no doubt this is just, again, part of your story of something beautiful coming out of this time of growing your business. So let's get into it.
All right, awesome.
Yes, yes, yes. So tell me about the pivotal moment that you will be elaborating on today.
Most definitely. A time, especially for me, when I had a pivotal moment was when I left my job back in the summer, actually June of 2019, to pursue becoming an entrepreneur. I was in a situation that was very toxic to me at the time at my last school, and I had to make a decision to either keep myself out of that toxic work situation or leave to break free and work on my own terms. So that was a very pivotal moment for me because prior to that, I would have never thought of leaving the security of a position that I had. But I also realized that it was affecting me in ways that I saw were not really going to be good for me. And so I really had to make that decision.
Wow, that is a lot. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure so many people who are watching this can relate to being on a job and it being toxic, but sometimes we feel stuck. So the fact that you took that leap, that's encouraging.
Thank
Wow.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I really had to rely on faith, my faith in God, to trust that, he was going to see things through, especially even when I wasn't sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So what would you say then from that moment that you learned from it that that everything must circle around this important thing. What was that thing that's of utmost importance to you that you learned from this moment?
Most definitely. I discovered that the central thing of importance was just realizing that I wasn't happy and, just seeing how that was affecting me daily. I can remember, we as teachers, every weekend we are like excited about the weekend, but then there's Sunday turns around and you're like, okay, I got to get ready for the next day, Monday. And I was kind of getting that, Sunday blues feeling while I was like, oh, I got to get ready to go back to work. Or if you have like, maybe there's a holiday and perhaps maybe some teachers might be like, oh, I can't wait to get back in the classroom, while you're like, well, I enjoy teaching, but I could take a little bit more time off. I was feeling all of those feelings. I was feeling I was also feeling some anxiety, dealing with some of the situations at my job. And I can remember one funny time, my husband was going to work, and so he left earlier than I did. And he was able to come home during lunchtime, and he saw that I was home. He was like, oh, I thought you were going to work. I was like, I just decided to take off. But I didn't tell him because I kind of felt like, oh gosh, I'm taking off, so he's probably going to look at me like I'm crazy. But I needed that mental health day because it was just a moment where I was just like, you know what? Let me send my substitute plans in. I need a moment. I need a day. And so, those things just were some triggers that let me know, okay, this isn't how you should be if you're working.
And I love that you're bringing that out because, again, I think so many people go through that and they don't realize to actually stop, pause, and pay attention to how they're feeling. And, they just kind of, you hear a case of the Mondays or, oh, I hate going back to the job, but really paying attention to how it's physically and mentally affecting you and letting that say, maybe I need to make a change.
Yes, definitely. Most definitely. So that was an adjustment for sure.
Yeah. And as you mentioned adjustment, so I always love to bring that in because when we think about pivoting, that kind of tends to deal with our why and these moments of importance. But as we've all experienced having to make adjustments, which that can be looked at as somewhat different. It can be defined as adapting to something that's uncomfortable or ugly. So, and you mentioned it, but just kind of give us a little more about a time you had to adjust rather than the pivot.
Most definitely. I can remember a time when I was teaching first grade a few years ago, and there was a new student that was placed in my classroom, more so kind of like after the Christmas season, so like late winter. And he was a student who was having a lot of challenges in his other first grade classroom, to the point that they were trying to figure out, who would he be a best fit in? So they tried him in different classrooms, and then they decided to put him in my classroom. And, initially he wasn't having any issues. So they said, we're going to put this particular student in your class. We feel like it's a good fit. It's a good match with you as the teacher. He's been having some difficulties in his other classrooms. And so perhaps maybe he'll fit in your class. And so I was like, okay, and I knew that was a sign that he's been bounced around, so I must be like, okay, this is it. And that particular year, I had already had a student who, prior to coming to the first grade, I had another student who was he was diagnosed as autistic, but the mother didn't want him to have an IEP. So, she was thinking, oh, I don't know about this. So they put him in my room. And so I was like, okay. So I was able to manage it, and I was having really good classroom management. Like when the administrator would come into the room, they were like, oh, it's so calm in here. And I was like, yeah, so I had a good thing going. And then they put that student in my classroom, and it changed a lot of things because there was one situation where I was testing at my desk, and then one of my students came up and they said, Miss Reid, I see fire at this particular, we'll just call him Jonathan, at Jonathan's desk. And I was like, what? So I go over to Jonathan's desk and I said, what's going on? Do you have anything in here that could start a fire? And he was like, no. So I go in his desk and there's matches. And he actually, you could see that he was trying to, set fire to the matches. It was just thank God it didn't set on fire. But, he had like torn matches and a matchbook and everything. And I was just like, oh my God. So we had to send him down to the office. He was suspended, things like that. And he had been suspended quite a few times throughout that year from other people's classrooms by just doing different things when we have to change classes for different subjects. And I knew that I had to, sort of deal with the situation. I couldn't necessarily say, oh, well, he has to get out of here because he had already been transferred from different classrooms and it wasn't working out. So they put him in my room. And I one of the things I took from that was, okay, so I dealt with that situation, but I noticed that other teachers in my grade, they would always, whenever we would have like different meetings, they would always complain about their behaviors in their classroom. And I never complained about it. So I was telling John, I was like, I should have complained. I should have been like, oh, this is so horrible and da 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 da. Then they would have not put him in my class. But it was just, that was an interesting year. I could probably write a book about that particular year and those students, that particular student.
Wow. That sounds like a lot. And again, I think it helps us all appreciate just the world that our teachers live in, and then we just have to salute you all because, well, I'll say this, I know quite a few of my friends who are parents have said, over this pandemic, having to teach their kids at home or having to be home and learn virtually, they said, they have a new appreciation for teachers and for the school system. And they're like, my kid is bad. I had a number of parents call me like, listen, it's me and this kid. We're about to fight. And I'm like, don't hurt the baby. So exactly. I appreciate you just sharing that experience because it does help us appreciate you all more for just the work that our educators have to do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I've heard some stories and, just a variety of different parents who are like, oh my God, what do I do with them? Like I'm supposed to make them work. They're not working. They're not doing what I need them to do. It was pretty hilarious. I think a lot of us were like, now you see.
Right.
It's a lot of work.
Right. Wow. Well, Veronica, so, these conversations are always just so brief, but as we kind of come to the end of the conversation, what do you want to leave directly with those who are watching? What is your message directly to our viewers right now?
Definitely. If there is a dream that you have and there's a passion that you have, most definitely pursue it. You can put the groundwork in to prepare and do your research for, whatever it is that you might really want to do as a passion, but definitely go for it. Now is the time. I know that a lot of things are happening that's really crazy right now, but definitely never give up on your dream. If there's something that you want to do, really pursue it.
Beautiful, beautiful. And of course, we've mentioned the book, but take a moment and just actually tell us a little bit more about the book and how we can go get it.
Most definitely. So I have the book here. I wanted to share with everybody. Yes. So it's my book. This is my first book, actually, the first of many.
Yes.
It's titled How to Fire Your 9-to-5, 10 Steps to Break Free and Work on Your Own Terms. And basically, if you're tired of your 9-to-5, you're ready to move on. My book, How to Fire Your 9-to-5, is about how to break free from your 9-to-5 job. I give you action steps on how to help to guide you on your journey to entrepreneurship while sharing my personal testimony of how I was able to break free from my particular job. And so, if you work in corporate America or if you're an essential worker, you can relate to the story that I share in my book. And I give you some tools to kind of help you to become a successful business owner. And I hope that it will inspire you. Definitely.
Awesome. I know people are going to want to take advantage of that. And tell us again, where can they find you? Where can they get this book? How can they reach out to you?
Most definitely. So I am actually on social media. So I am on Facebook under my business actually, because I'm an online tutor, is Reach Scholars Tutoring. So you can find me there. If you look me up on Facebook, my name is Veronica Aikins Reid, Reid. You can find me there. I also have a side business called Natural for You. So that's natural number 4, then big capital U, where I make natural products for hair and body. And in terms of my website, you can go to howtofire9to5.com to purchase my book.
Very simple. So you all have no excuse.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Well, Veronica, thank you so much for coming and sharing your pivotal moment and sharing all this goodness that you have to offer and the things that you are doing. I am super excited. And again, congratulations on pursuing your dream and writing your first book. That's awesome. Like you said, of many. I love that. And again, just thank you so much for stopping by.
You're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And thank you all out there for tuning in once again to another episode of Pivotal Moments with Lolita. We will see you next time.